Good morning. This is Mike Berkeley, the founder and director of the Berkeley Center for Reproductive Wellness here in New York City, Wednesday, December 18th at 9:11 a.m. It's about 42 degrees today, thank goodness. It's been in the 30s with rain. Awful. I should move to Hawaii. In any event, today we're going to talk a little bit about in vitro fertilization, ectopic pregnancy rates, how to reduce ectopic pregnancy rates in the IVF protocol, and increase endometrial implantation with a successful pregnancy and a live birth of your beautiful little munchkin. So did you know that the ectopic pregnancy rate in the non-IVF population is between 1 and 2%? Excuse me. Did you also know that the ectopic pregnancy rate in the IVF population is between 2 and 8%? Why is that? Well, during intercourse, when a man ejaculates into a woman, the uterus has a certain amount of spasming that takes place. That spasming is meant to help the sperm flow upwards into a fallopian tube, which is where the egg is fertilized. The egg, which is now fertilized, which is now going to be an embryo, will stay in the fallopian tube for about 5 days and come out and end up in the uterine cavity, hopefully implant and yield a healthy and ongoing pregnancy. Once in a while, even with intercourse, an ectopic pregnancy can occur. There could be something wrong with the fallopian tube. There could be a little scarring on it. There could be some spasming of the tube. So when the sperm fertilizes the egg, and this takes place in the tube, instead of coming out in 5 days and plopping down into the uterus, it stays in the fallopian tube because the tube is damaged. And you end up with an ectopic pregnancy. You'll typically see this in patients that have a history of some kind of pelvic inflammatory disease, chlamydia, some type of ascending disorder that can negatively impact the tube. But, relative to IVF ectopic pregnancies, the non-IVF population has a very small rate of ectopics. Let's talk about why, when one does an in vitro fertilization embryo transfer, that the rate of ectopic pregnancies skyrocket from 1 to 2% to 2 to 8%. Here's why. So, for those of you who've had embryo transfers, you'll already understand this. For those of you who are gearing up to do so and have never had an embryo transfer, you don't know this, but you will now. So the way an embryo transfer is done is the embryo is put into a syringe-like device. Of course, there's no needle at the end of the syringe, but the syringe itself is connected to a long tube about 18 inches long, and that tube gets inserted through the vagina, through the cervix, and into the uterus, at which point the doctor will depress the plunger on the syringe, causing the embryo that's in the syringe to be extruded into the uterine cavity. Then the syringe is pulled out with the tube, and the next step is for religious people to pray and for non-religious people to keep their fingers crossed for a good outcome. What's the problem here? The problem is this. This is an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and here's another 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and if we put one on top of the other, that is the contour of the uterus. It's not to say that the uterus is shaped in a square, it's to say that the uterus is flat. It's a flat organ. It's not open like this. It's flat. So when the catheter goes from the vagina through the cervix in here into the uterus, that catheter will touch the side walls of the uterus, causing the uterus to do this, to severely spasm. As a result of that spasming, the deposited embryo can be pushed upwards. Spasming can cause the embryo to go up. What's up? Fallopian tubes. So as a result of the transfer itself causing uterine spasming, you're more likely to have an ectopic pregnancy than the non-IVF population. Now, this brings me to the point of the story, which is why one should consider, let me restate, not consider, why one should do acupuncture pre and post embryo transfer. So when you do acupuncture pre-embryo transfer, you're flushing the uterine cavity with blood, causing the uterus to become more receptive, more amenable, more conducive to an implantation. It's like you're buying a soft, delicious, warm, cuddly pillow upon which the embryo can lay its little head. And that's the benefit of acupuncture pre-transfer. What's the benefit of acupuncture post-embryo transfer? Well, post-embryo transfer, your uterus is going to be going like this, causing a greater possibility of an ectopic pregnancy. When you receive acupuncture post-embryo transfer, it either significantly reduces the spasming or stops the spasming altogether. As a result, your chances of an ectopic pregnancy are greatly diminished, whereby your chances of an endometrial implantation are greatly increased. This is what you need to know. If you're in New York City and you're having an embryo transfer and you want to get treated pre and post, I am here for you. I'm Mike Berkeley. I'm the first acupuncturist in America to specialize in treating those with fertility challenges. I am available to you 7 days per week, including all and every and any holiday, to treat you pre and post embryo transfer, even if I'm off because it's Christmas Day. If you happen to have an embryo transfer on Christmas Day, I'm coming in for you. Our website is berkeleycenter.com. That's BERKLEY center.com. You can find out more there. If you have any questions about this or anything else related to fertility or infertility, female factor, male factor, feel free to give me a call with no obligation. I'm friendly, compassionate, easy to speak with, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. Until then, I'm wishing you Godspeed on your journey to family, Merry Christmas, and a very happy and healthy New Year. Thank you so very much for watching. All the best.